welcome to another video of mine, right? So for today, we're going to talk about the daily ability of my Panigale, I guess. Or like what's it like to daily a Panigale. First I want to like clarify, I'm not actually like speaking at the same time that I'm riding, but that's because like my audio kept getting messed up, but I fixed that issue, and hopefully for the next video, we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled stuff, alright? But for now, you're going to enjoy some nice audio with some background footage of me just riding around, alright? Okay, so for the Panigale, honestly, it's a sport bike, so keep that in mind. You're not going to be like super comfortable, and it's not a commuter bike, even though I commute with it in the summer. That's because like I live in a kind of that has like bad weather all the time, so whenever I get the chance to commute to work, I commute on my bike whenever possible. So yeah, as long as you keep in mind that it's a sport bike and not like anything else, you should be fine. As for the Panigale, I'm not gonna really like go into detail how I came to this, like to choosing this bike as like my bike. I'll do like another video about that. If you're watching this video, you're considering getting like a Panigale, or like you're getting like a sport bike type of thing, and you're just like weighing your options, right? So I'm gonna go over like the pros and cons, and like the different things you should like consider, or like what I've been going through, like on a daily basis, right? So yeah, some of the pros obviously is that first of all, it's a nice bike. It's like, it looks good, in my opinion. I feel like the looks matter, right? If you don't like the way your bike looks, you probably like shouldn't ride that bike. But yeah, I think it looks very good. I also think that it's not a leader bike and not a 600. So the power of the bike is like pretty nice. It's at that like nice level where it's like kind of powerful, but like a controllable kind of like speed or like torque, if that makes sense. Like the power band, even though like I guess I'm referencing the power band here, right? And I would say the power band is like one of the big pluses. It's not like extremely like, yeah, even though it's a V-twin, it's not torquey like all the way throughout the RPMs. I would say it's like a decent amount of torque for like putting around town and like the lower RPMs, but as soon as you get over 7, that's where the real power band is. So it's kind of like a souped up like R6. Like, and imagine if an R6 had like enough torque to just like get around town pretty easy, like below 7,000 RPM. This is kind of like what this bike is. So yeah, one pro is the power band, right, and like the torquiness of the bike, right? Another like pro is the electronics. Dude, the electronics are super good on this bike. I don't want to like jinx anything and say that like it's gonna keep you safe or whatever, but I know from personal experience that the electronics saved me many a times. Okay, one day, like I don't know, one day I turned off the electronics, and I really did feel the difference. I was like, okay, this is like what it actually feels like, you know, like it's kind of protective in a way. So yeah, the electronics like don't get like in your way like too bad, because you can adjust it like however much you want. If you want like a quick throttle response, if you want like a slow throttle response, like maybe something like between, if you want like full access to the power of the engine, like less access to the power of the engine, if you want ABS, no ABS, cornering ABS, if you want front ABS but no rear ABS, that also works. You can like adjust it like however much you want. Like the power, like the electronics on this bike, you can adjust to like your liking. You can turn everything off, or you can turn everything on. It's like all the way up to you. So yeah, the electronics I would say is a pretty big plus. Like, if you ever wanted a bike that feels like raw, and then maybe one day you wanted to have electronics, and maybe another day you didn't, this is like the bike to do it. So yeah, next I would say is like not the figure of the bike, but like the width of it, right? So let's say lane splitting is legal where you are. If you do lane split, or like you lane split on like a regular basis, the bike's very thin. Not very thin, it's just like, I don't know, just like fits between cars easily. It doesn't feel like it's a hassle when you're putting around town. But yeah, overall it's a great bike. Like if you're choosing this as like your like daily, or like you're choosing this as your sport bike that you want, I would say you made a pretty good choice. Now for the cons that you're gonna feel like day to day. Alright, this is like not like a, oh sometimes this might happen, oh sometimes that might happen type of thing. I'm talking like day to day. Number one is the heat. And I understand it's a Ducati and I signed up for this type of stuff, but the heat is actually like kind of a big issue. Like the bike just like runs hot. For example, if you pull up to a red light and it just turned into a red light, so it was green, you pulled up and it became red, and you stopped at that red light, I'm talking like if it's a good intersection, your bike, if you don't turn it off, it will get up to like 225, 226. Yeah. And like you're feeling them 226 degrees. Fahrenheit, by the way. I'm talking like about Fahrenheit. So yeah, heat is a very big issue. And I know like I signed up for the Ducati heat. It's like notorious for like running hot. It's just the way the engine is designed and the way the exhaust is like you're sitting on top of the exhaust, by the way. It's like all coiled up beneath the seat. So yeah, I would say the heat is a very big issue. Yeah, but like you deal with it because you know the bike looks good, performs good, and you know I commute with it, so I just gotta like shut my mouth and just continue. You know, I would say also that it's a bit of an aggressive body positioning, right? It's like if you've ever ridden an R6, if you ever like heard a review or like read a review about the R6, it's probably like a 1 degree less than an R6, so like 1 degree more comfortable than an R6. And everybody that rides an R6 says that they're like kind of uncomfortable over like long periods of time. So yeah, it's a little bit more comfortable than an R6. To give you like a bit of perspective, my buddy has a CBR 600 RR, and that bike, even though it is a super sport, feels super comfortable compared to this bike. Like that bike feels like you're sitting inside of the bike versus this Ducati feels like you're sitting on top of, right? But you have to keep that in consideration. It's like it's what you have to pay to feel so confident in the corners. Like this bike, I don't know what Dobumoto was on, but like he reviewed the bike and he said like it doesn't tip in easy. I think he was just like having a bad day or something, which happens. I'm not blaming anybody. But from my experience, this bike is super confident in the corners. That's I guess like another pro that you could consider. It's super confident in the corners, but to pay the price of being confident in the corners, you kind of have to be like in an uncomfortable like body positioning. It's like a bit aggressive, some pressure on your wrists, but like you guys know how to like handle that, right? You just squeeze on the tank a little bit, keep the pressure on like your knees, press into the tank over like long periods of time if you have like a commute or whatever. That's what I do at least. But yeah, body positioning is pretty aggressive. Like by the time I get to work, and I commute about an hour and a half, by the way, so an hour and a half one way and then an hour and a half the other way. So yeah, I commute a pretty good distance, and I won't lie. First day I did it and I got to work, I was like, dude, my back is hurting right now, dude. So yeah, another con is like the maintenance of the bike. It's not a con actually, but you know, for the purposes of this video, I guess you consider it a con. But yeah, one thing to keep in mind is that your chain, right? Rarely does anybody like talk about it in the forums, but it is present. Because it's a single-sided swing arm, your chain will form tight spots way sooner than any of your friends that might have like a double-sided swing arm, like a regular style swing arm. So generally speaking, you'll like change your chain twice before you change your sprockets. So let's say you bought the bike new, it comes with the original chain and sprockets. You'll change your chain once like aftermarket, and then after that, like for your next chain, like once you're gonna replace your chain again, you're gonna change your sprockets as well. And I feel like nobody talks about that. So yeah, your chain is gonna like be mindful of your chain. It's gonna form a tight spot, usually one big tight spot, and not necessarily like many. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Also, the valve service, right? Everybody complains about the valve service, the Desmo service, if you would. It's the 15,000 mile valve service. And just to touch quickly on this, right? Every bike, Yamaha R1, CX6R, every single bike that is like a super bike or a sports bike has a valve service, and they all cost about the same. The only reason Ducati valve service is more expensive is because if you go to the Ducati dealer and you ask for the Desmo service, they're going to change your oil, they're going to change your coolant, they're going to change like a bunch of stuff, they're going to check over your nuts and bolts. If you just go to a shop and ask for just the Desmo service, you should be quoted around the same price as like servicing an R1, like doing a valve service for an R1, which like the lowest I've heard of a valve service for like any bike is 700, and the highest I've heard is about 2,000. But like the median price, or like the most likely price you will get, is like around 1,200 to 1,500. It's just like an all-around thing. But yeah, people say that it's a con. In my book, if you have a sports bike and you're gonna ride it for more than 12k. By the way, for most bikes, it's a 12k mile service. Like every 12k miles, you have to service your valves, like automatically. For pretty much any bike, the Ducati, it's every 15. So yeah, not really a con once you consider that every bike has it. But yeah. And just like a quick side note, I hate the people that like sell their bikes before like the valve service. Like, dude, really? But yeah, what else? Yeah, I would say like the seat is pretty comfortable. Just like overall, like the actual like seat, the stock seat, doesn't really hurt. It's pretty comfortable. Like cradles your butt, I guess. Not in a weird way, but like it kind of feels like memory foam. If that makes sense. Another con I would say is specialty tools, right? Let's say, for example, like you wanted to take off your bar ends, right? Like, I don't know, you want different bar ends. You're gonna need a T60 Torx bit, which is not a common tool, by the way. So you're gonna have to buy like specialty tools and that type of like thing. For example, if you wanted to take off like the rear wheel and the front wheel, you're gonna have to buy like a type of combination socket. Like, I'll throw up a picture if I find one. But yeah, a lot of like tools like that. And it's not like too expensive, but like just know that you have to buy some tools. MPG, it's just like any other bike. I will say, one like issue that bugs me when I'm dailying it is the speedometer's off. It's off by at least 10. So let's say I was going like 80 miles per hour, I'm actually going 70. Like in real life I'm going 70, but on the speedo in front of you it will say 80. I guess it's good, like a preventative measure, I guess, so you don't speed. But yeah, it's just like something to consider, right? Also for like to see, because it doesn't also like have, the Ducati Panigale does not have a fuel gauge, so that's something to consider. I usually keep track by using one of the trip meters as like my fuel gauge, and I'll get about, as per the screen, I will get about 130 miles before I have to fill up again, or before the gas light comes on. So yeah, and that's with riding like somewhat aggressively, not like babying or putt-putting around around town, you know, just like canyon ripping. Like if you want like a good canyon ride, like going up and down a few times, like maybe 3 or 4 times, dude, you'll be chilling. There's enough gas in the gas tank. It's pretty big. It's like 4.5 gallons, so like you're chilling. But it's just like something to consider. There's no fuel gauge, and you just have to use one of the trip meters to get around that type of thing. Again, brakes. Obviously, all brakes are hydraulic, but on this bike, the clutch is also hydraulic. So I have to get used to this thing. I'm not used to a hydraulic clutch, and the only real noticeable difference is that like it bites all the way out. Like the lever will bite, like the clutch will bite, like when the lever is all the way out or almost all the way out. That's when the clutch bites, and as soon as you bring it past that point, like bring it in closer to your handlebars, like it'll disengage super quick, and it just feels kind of weird. So just like a little bit of a learning curve around the hydraulic clutch. So, and this also causes another problem, which is if you're trying to wheelie the motorcycle, you kind of have to power wheelie it. That's just like what feels most comfortable, or like least stressful. Clutching up is kind of difficult. You have to be going like a little bit slower than usual, and yeah, I would say wheeling is it's just, the bike is pretty hard to wheelie, just like as a disclaimer, if that's what you're looking to do. Also, a lot of like the aftermarket parts are pretty expensive if you don't know where to shop. That's also like another thing that you might have to consider. For example, like let's say you're doing a sprocket change, right? You're just regular maintenance, your old sprockets are worn out, and you're just trying to change those. If you bought the front sprocket, you'll find easy on pretty much any like website that sells gear, but the rear sprocket is where I had the most trouble. I went straight to Ducati and I tried to buy it from there, but I found out that the rear sprocket is $243 or $247 just for the rear sprocket, like OEM, straight from Ducati, which is, I find that's just outrageous. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but like, it's a piece of steel at the end of the day. I understand there's like R&D behind it, but dude, $247, are you like kidding me, dude? So yeah, what I did was I found this website, or this company I guess, called Superlight. So I put a set of Superlight sprockets. The rear sprocket ran me 160 bucks, and the front sprocket was like 35 bucks or something like that. Pretty like reasonable. But yeah, you just have to know where to shop. A lot of the Ducati parts are like expensive from Ducati themselves, so you just have to like find ways to get around it by going to like a reputable manufacturer or like going to somewhere else. But you just have to be pretty resourceful. And this is a quick shout out to Superlight Sprockets and Drive Systems USA. I just want to make sure that everybody understands this. I am not paid. I am not like, they didn't tell me to do this. They didn't tell me to do anything. Okay? This is simply from my experience, and I just logged on as a regular customer. Nothing special about me. Okay? They delivered my my 2 sprockets within 2 days, and they left me like a little note. They were like super nice about it. They were like, "Hey man, I'm glad you liked our stuff," and that was it. I wrote them like a feedback. I was like, dude, this is like the quality of the sprockets were like really good, and I was really amazed. So I sent them a quick message, and they were super like helpful. Customer service was on point. I asked them a lot of questions before I like bought the sprocket itself. So yeah, I just want to make sure to make everybody aware. They didn't pay me. I'm not getting paid, and I logged in as a regular customer. I didn't tell them about anything, and that was it. Like, they didn't send me anything. They didn't do anything for me. But I just want to say that they have excellent customer service. And I know if you own a Ducati, I know you know how hard it is to shop for like sprockets or like anything that like is like drive lines type of systems. Okay? And I just want to highlight how helpful they were. So yeah, go get you some Superlight sprockets. They're very nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Ducati Panigale V2. If you're thinking about getting this bike, absolutely go for it. Don't hesitate. Yeah, it's a great bike. Just keep in mind everything that I just said. A lot of maintenance, specialty parts, things like that. So yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. I know it probably like seems weird that I'm talking and my voice is like super clear. It doesn't seem like I'm driving and talking or riding and talking. But so sorry about it. But you know, it's my 5th time trying to film this video, and this is the gateway, I guess, that I'm using. But for the next video, I'll be back on the bike talking, and I fixed my mic, thankfully. So thank you for bearing with me.